Hi, and welcome to Global Student Voices, the podcast that brings you exciting stories and invaluable insights from students, educators, and thought leaders around the world. I'm your host, Coach Martin, with 30 years of experience in international education. Join us each time when we navigate the exciting journey between international secondary school and university. Let's get started. Hey, Scott Martin here, and I'm certainly glad you joined us for this very special episode of Global Student Voices. We're here in 2025, and we're glad to have you join us. It's been a extraordinary opportunity to get to meet with some very special people in the global education world, some wonderful thought leaders who have led us well, some great new minds, some young solopreneurs that are doing good work on behalf of our students around the world. We've talked to university people, we've talked to secondary leaders, we've talked to student groups. And so Global Student Voices has continued to be more than really I ever hoped when I started. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying doing each episode. Just as a reminder, we drop a new episode on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month. And so we do 2 episodes a month. We've been going now for 5 months, and we launch into 2025 with some wonderful, wonderful hosts, guests lined up. And so I'm really looking forward to recording those episodes and sharing those with you. So again, welcome to Global Student Voices. This is a special episode. We do have a guest. It's me. So I'm interviewing myself in this episode. I wanted to spend some time to share what's happening with Global Student Solutions, which is the parent organization of Global Student Voices, and some really exciting things that are happening in the world of global education that we thought our listeners would really want to know about and participate in. One of the things that I have missed not being at an international school is the ability to participate in exciting things that happen there. And so likewise, as we're beginning to see some things really come together and gelling, we wanted to give the opportunity for you to be involved in what's happening. And really it's about you as the listener and as a participant. So by the end of this episode, we're going to give you an overview of the things that we see happening and our part in it and the ways that you can partner with us. We want to highlight our mission of connecting with students, schools, universities, and supporters globally. And we have a promise for you. At the end of this episode, you will see exactly how you can participate in this global mission. So I hope that you'll stick with us throughout. I think this will be very informative. It'll give you something positive to talk about with your friends, and it'll also give us an opportunity to share the good news of what's happening in global education. So in a world that sometimes is not full of good news, we want you to have opportunity to get good news and share good news. So that's a large part of what we do at Global Student Solutions. So let's kick off with what's happening, what has happened over the last number of months, and just get you caught up on what's available from Global Student Solutions. If you haven't visited our website yet, it's undergoing some renovation. So some things have been changing over the last couple of weeks, certainly over the last year. And so there's an opportunity for you to see the new things happening there. But I wanted to highlight a couple of things, let's say over the last 18 months that have happened with Global Student Solutions. We haven't had as many clients as we wanted, which means I have downtime and I'm not good with downtime. So team had me put together some of the projects that I have been working on and saying I'm going to finish. And so we published 5 books in the last 18 months. And if you're not familiar with all of them, I wanted to share them with you. The first was The 6 Pillars of University Readiness. And this was an effort for me to articulate what I saw as the 6 columns, 6 areas of things that universities are looking for in their applicants. And not all universities are really necessarily all aware of what those things are. It seems a little bit nebulous, and certainly not all admissions counselors are aware of these things. But what it boils down to is these 6 kind of central themes that are looking for. And if students can address these 6 pillars in their application and in their story, then it makes them very acceptable to universities. It's what separates them. And so there's a lot of confusion among applicants, whether they're, no matter what country or where you were born, this isn't international specific. There's a lot of confusion about what does it take to get in. Like, it's so confusing. Is it just about SAT? Is it just about GPA? Is it just about what AP classes I took, or if I'm IB or not? And the reality is that it's none of those things. And it's all of those things. So we try to break that down into something that's really manageable and kind of outlines. Yeah, it just breaks it down really nicely. And so one of the things that I think is really interesting about this book is that in each chapter, we start out with a quote for each chapter. And what you'll notice in this work is that the quotes are from a diverse group of minds. We also include just a lot of additional resources. So this is not meant to be the one and, definitive work on this. In fact, since it's been published, I've learned some things. So we're going to do a new edition in the coming year or two. But there's some really great resources. It's a way to take. Why should you research this on your own if you're a parent or a school leader? Um, when somebody else has already thought this through. If you're an applicant looking for school, this is a very easy read. These are not, I wrote books that I would read, and I don't like reading nonfiction. So everything that I've written to be readable. So the 6 pillars of university readiness: help your student or students get prepared. If you're a university, do you align with this or you differ from this? In which case you can articulate that in your admissions process and get the right applicants. Kind of out of that book came a broader study of what the world needs you. And this is really looking at, okay, if that's what universities are looking for, why is that? Because the product they're trying to produce is this well-rounded, good citizen, right? And the world needs more of those. And so it's a noble cause that the universities is trying to create. And they have their own mission, right? So they're trying to mold people into that. That's their product. But the truth is the world needs you, and needs you well-rounded, and it needs you with those 6 pillars. And so whether or not you're going to university or not, this book, The World Needs You, is about you figuring out who you are in the world and how to kind of put the best version of you forward. And this book, again, very readable. But what I love about this book is that each chapter starts with this parable, and they're all unique, original parables. Again, everything in here is short. It's 2 pages, easy reads, right? But starts with parables and ends with some questions. And so there's some opportunity for reflection. So there's a series of 6 questions at the end of each little chapter. Again, these chapters are small, easily readable. This book is really designed to read over a few days. Read a little bit before you go to bed at night or as part of your morning. Get up and go. The questions are designed to be thought provoking. And so the vision we had for this resource, obviously we want all of our students to read it that work with us, but also we want schools to be able to use it in their small groups if they have small group discussion groups. So if in a class you have opportunities where you want people to stop and think, use this book, read the parable before one class, and then the next class read part of the chapter and do one of the questions. There's the questions already built in, so it's kind of designed to be, I think in school terms, this is designed to be a bell ringer book. A little bit of reading, a little bit of thinking, a little bit of discussion, really centered around putting our best foot forward, and hopefully a lot of good discussion there. It's intended to be a discussion starter, not an ender. This isn't the answer book. This is the question book. And so I hope that's a useful resource. I also envision this like in small groups and communities, church Sunday school classes, youth groups, kind of anytime people gather in a cluster and need something to work through. The World Needs You, I think, is a wonderful resource for that. The parables themselves are probably worth the book. So you can pick up that copy. All the books are available on Amazon, and both digital and printed copies. Now we get really specific into my niche, as they say. So this is the Global Student's Guide to University. And this is just really intended to be kind of the introductory chapter to the university application process, and kind of how to apply, how to get in, and all of that. So this is what we go over with our clients when we kind of work through this process. But this is also just a resource that, if you can't afford a college coach and you want to set yourself up to be successful in your university admission, the Global Student's Guide to University is one that every international school should have in your library. Every American school that has international students at it should have it as one of your resources. Your guidance counselor should have copies they can check out. This is just a simple guide. It's meant to make our jobs easier. So if you like easier, this is your text. Thousands of hours of research to put together something that you can digest in a couple of hours is kind of embarrassing, but that's how we want to do work here, right? We want to make everything working with GSS is intended to make the user's life easier. So whether you're a contractor working with us in the global education network, or you're a school working with us on admissions, or a student working with us on getting into college, our job is to save you tons of time and energy and get you the very best resources. And that's what we do in that book for global students. So if you're new to our community and don't know global students are students who most typically are currently studying or plan to study in a country other than their birth country. And if you're one of those, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so it's a big umbrella group. The global students include terms like TCKs and MKs and international students and Army brats and just this a whole catalog of people that fall into this global student group. It also includes people who do study abroad and want to do a semester at sea, or basically anytime that we integrate cultural transition and educational transition into a cluster, then you're talking global students. So that's our audience. That's our niche. And so the parents of global students, the schools that serve global students, we focus on international schools because everyone there is a global student. If you are not at an international school, you may still be a global student, but you definitely are if you're at an international school. So that's where we focus our efforts. But students reach out to us who don't attend international schools for coaching services, and that's appropriate too, because you're still a global student if you're looking to study in another country. And so that's what that guide is, the Global Student Guide to University. I hope that's helpful. And then our final work is really my love letter to guidance counselors at international schools around the world. And this is just a way to know you're on track, keep you on track, kind of know what the most important things are. It's a guidebook it's called Global Pathways. It's really to do what you can to help. If you're an international school, you should have this book. And if you're a guidance counselor at an international school, you should have this book. It's really intended to make your job a lot easier, to give you kind of a manual to work from. It came out of a request to build a manual for a school. And so we did that, and then we just took that specific manual for that school and built it out into a work that you can use wherever. So that's also available on our website as well as on Amazon. Pick up your copy and get your copy right away. So we really just wanted to empower university counselors at international schools to give the best and know what that looks like to your students. We want your students to thrive and flourish in high school and beyond. Those were the books that we've put out in the last 18 months. It's been productive, and we're excited about it. Let me get into what else is happening at Global Student Solutions and where you can plug in. So Global Student Solutions is kind of this umbrella group that has a variety of different things happening, but a variety of consulting services, and it includes things like Global Student Voices, which you're listening to right now. It also includes some specific pay-to-play services like My College Coach. My College Coach is a coaching service for students wanting to get into university. And so you can either pay a monthly fee and have a coach on demand, or you can book individual sessions, or you can buy packages of coaching packages that walk you through any part of the journey that you're stuck in. So get a list of schools, or process your applications, fill out Common App, get help with your essay, know what you want to study, all kinds of, just every aspect of it. And we want you to transition well and thrive, flourish at your university of choice. So we want you to choose a good university, and one that's a really good fit for you. And we use the principles that we teach for your guidance counselors at your schools. The difference is we have a lot more time. Typically, we meet with students evenings, weekends. Time where you are is good time for us. And so that's what My College Coach does, and helps students find their way through the jungle of application process and school search to the opportunities that best fit them. And so if you're getting our full service, then you're getting that big package and exploring the right opportunities. So that's My College Coach. And we've updated our offerings a little bit over the last year. We've partnered with a couple of other organizations and now offering coaching services through those organizations. So that's an exciting partnership. And one of those partnerships has My College Coach services offered at 180 international schools through that one outlet itself. So very exciting. Looking for a good new year for My College Coach. Where I want to spend the bulk of my time today is talking about the College Education Network, or the GEN Network. We started out with an initiative called GEN Thailand, where we wanted to create a network in Thailand specifically, and that's our current initiative. That initiative goes through 2025. But we're not limiting membership to Thailand. That's just where we're putting our resources and energy, because there are 14,000 international schools in the world right now. And we can't possibly work with all of them or just kind of blanket our attention out there. So we're searching for the schools who want to join a network. Hey there, GSV listeners. Before we dive back into our conversation, I wanted to take a moment to thank our incredible guests, the students, school officials, and thought leaders who inspire us with their stories and insights. As you're listening today, be thinking of ways that you can support the guests of this show. There are links in the descriptions with just some of the ways. I'm Coach Martin, your host and your partner in navigating the university journey. Whether you're exploring university options, preparing for admissions, or seeking support during your academic path, my books provide practical guidance and insights to empower your university success. Join me in individual coaching, group sessions, or courses designed to equip you for university life and beyond.
I am from Brazil, but I attended an American school in Indonesia for my secondary education. So you know my situation was really confusing and really scary. Coach Martin really understands global students, and he loves helping us out.
Again, thank you for listening. Explore the podcast description for links and resources and contacts discussed in today's episode. Visit www.theglobalstudentsolutions.com to learn more and embark on your journey toward university success. Now, let's return to our conversation. And the reason you would join a network is pretty simple. So the network is designed to be the bridge between the international school and the destination university. And so we are partnering with both schools and universities to join the network. Now, that doesn't mean that if your students from this school are all going to go to this university. That's not how that is. But it is a bridge between secondary school and international school and university, mostly abroad. And we know that at those schools, there's a variety of students, and some of them will choose and are ready for and prepared for Ivy League or specific programs. Some will be headed to Dubai, some to Singapore, some to home countries, some to English programs where they are now, Europe, US, Canada, Australia. We know you're headed everywhere. But what we wanted to create was in creating a network of international schools, small to mid-size, that are probably not big enough to be a target of recruitment for colleges and universities. We wanted to, by coming together and creating a group, that's now a target. So instead of having 25, 30 graduates or 50 or even 100 graduates, now in a cluster, we could have up to 1,000 global students. And now colleges have to want to attract you, right? Now there's a big pool, and it's worth the energy and expense of connecting for colleges and universities to recruit from that pool. So now your students who you've put in that pool by joining the network are now recruited by top institutions and are more likely to get scholarship, or more likely to get easier admission, a simpler process. We create essentially the demand for your students' enrollment, which is what colleges have. You're now a part of meeting that demand, as opposed to what is currently happening is that these schools, students are not necessarily recruited by colleges. They're in a position where they feel like they're begging to get admitted. And that's not the right posture. We want our students to be wanted. We know they're fantastic. When I was a high school principal, I knew that my kids were amazing and they should be recruited, and that there were colleges that if they knew about them, they would want them. But they couldn't know about them because we were a small school and we couldn't promote ourselves to colleges and universities. And so the students were on their own, essentially. They have to find schools that were good fits, try to find schools that wanted them, try to tell their story in a way that they would be wanted, and so on. So it's just this whole thing. And so creating a global education network is our attempt to close that gap, to build a natural bridge, and to say, okay, we found some colleges and universities who want you. Schools, students like you. These schools, if colleges join the network, these are colleges who say we want international students, we want global students. We recognize your value, and we recognize your uniqueness. We're not going to, if you attended high school, an English-speaking international school, we're not going to ask you for TOEFL, right? Because we recognize that you've already got the English language ability, you're college ready. And so we're going to simplify the process. So we'll gather colleges that meet that profile, and we'll vet international schools who are doing their best to prepare their students for university. So we'll be able to be a conduit for information. And because it's through Global Student Solutions, we'll also have twice a month, we'll have podcasts that come out that help parents and students and are directly delivered to them. Will provide additional information to members of the network, and we'll give you access to other service providers. So now you'll have access to not only resources for your guidance counselor, but also additional guidance services through Global Student Solutions, perhaps at a discount, webinars, other sessions that can be delivered to schools. Once we have a group of colleges involved, then we can have college fairs, virtual college fairs that are exclusive to members. So it becomes a really exciting community in global education. So we're excited to have you as part of that. So that's what the Global Education Network is. And let me just say a couple things about who should be joining the Global Education Network and how you do that. So if you're a current service provider and you say, my audience is either colleges, universities who are going to be receiving international and global students, or global student families themselves. For example, one of our network members helps students who are looking for athletic scholarships in colleges and universities. So they provide coaching services for student athletes. So by joining the network, you gain access to their services. By being, if you're one of those service providers, let's say you're a tutor, a math tutor. If you're in the network, then students and schools in the network now have access to you as the math tutor in the network. And so as a solopreneur or as a coach or as a consultant, having your portal connected to the network will give these folks access. As people join the network, they get access to you, and therefore your services. One of the things that I found very difficult as a solopreneur is getting the word out about what I do. And so by creating a global education network, we can get our collective word out to the world. And so we'd love to have you do that. We'll be able to showcase you on Global Student Voices and the services you provide. You'll also be there in the portal for students. Now, one of the things that I want to have in mind that I had hoped to have ready to launch in 2025, it's going to be a bit delayed because of financial constraints, is a app where students and schools and parents and you will be able to link together through an app. Right now, we're going to be doing it through a website, but an app is in the works and is coming soon. So early members will be able to get in at a discount and help us get that app rolling more quickly. So contractor service providers should be in the network as the Global Education Network expands. Hopefully we will expand and meet your capacity and be able to invite other people into the network to meet the growing demand. And so rather than you having to be out there selling yourself on social media and trying to gain clients that way, you will have ready-made clients in the network where you can communicate directly with the students and families or schools that will use your services. I think the potential is really positive and very good. We want to invite and would like to have, by the end of this school year, the founding international school members of the network. And so we're looking to have schools join us as member schools. And so these would be international schools. We're looking for small to mid-sized schools who otherwise don't have a simple path for your students into higher education, that you will gain access to that by pooling with other small to mid-sized international schools. And as we build this network out, the demand for your students will increase and the opportunities for your students will also increase. So at a fairly small cost to join, you're getting access to webinars, workshops, curriculum resources, exclusive services, the consultants and coaches and resources that are on here. And essentially, if you want to think about it like this, if you're a school, if you think about it like, every couple of years you go to like a conference and those have great speakers and, you have a great network, and you find new and exciting resources and opportunities for your students. Imagine if that conference were ongoing year-round and your network were building year-round. The Global Education Network will be a network of, let's say we start with 10 schools. Now we have, and there's 2 secondary math teachers at each school. Now there's a group of 20 secondary math teachers in a network. You guys can have your own mastermind, support each other, and be connected with each other. Principals now have a cohort of colleagues, and heads of school will have this cohort in the education network of colleagues, and you guys can meet as often as you want, share ideas, support each other, and we'll help facilitate those things through the Global Education Network. And those are all things that come with membership. And so opportunities for your students is the main motivation, but the benefits go way beyond that huge plus for your students, and into a lot of things that are really exciting for ongoing and maintaining. So we see, you know, from my experience as a principal at an international school, I'm looking at things like retention, teacher onboarding, building a network, feeling isolated as schools, and having, when we have a group like this and we can develop this network and develop this community, then you're part of something bigger than what you're doing in your own location. And for parents to have a bigger network, for students to have a bigger network, to have, you have that one kid who's just a high achiever in math and science, and they're just a super person, but they're an isolated super person. At your school, they're the only one that's interested in that. And now you've got a group of schools, and we maybe have more of those students that now can connect. And one of the things that we are very excited about, and I wanted to talk about in this section, was very excited about a partnership with an alternative diploma or a supplemental diploma, which is more than that. It's a place where students can gather their story and really help them tell their story for admission, right? So that's a big plus bonus. But it's also kind of, think of it as like LinkedIn for students. And I think that's a very apropos description, where students share and gather their accomplishments in their secondary school era and develop their portfolio in a very vibrant portal, profile pool. So it's very exciting. More to come in 2025, but for schools looking to be, that alone is the great reason to join the Global Education Network. And so we'll have, yes, the webinars and seminars and all the resources and all the things happening. You'll have this robust calendar that you don't actually have to do anything, but you'll have a robust calendar that you can share with your parents that come because they joined your school. Because they joined your school, they're going to get college seminars, they're going to get scholarship seminars, they're going to get tutoring, they're going to get access to coaching, they're going to get access to all these things that you would love to offer, but can't possibly afford to offer all those things because you have 1 or 2 or 3 students that could use it. Now, because you're part of the network, we can offer those things, and your kids get to benefit from them. And you can post on your campus calendar, on your school calendar, here's this webinar, here's this seminar, here's this podcast, here's this resource, here's this newsletter, all things that benefit your kids, benefit your students, benefit your families, and don't require you to do any additional effort. How great is it? And to me, that was a missing piece from my experience as a school principal, and one that I'm excited to now, in this life, be able to offer back to international schools. So if you're at an international school and you're in leadership, please contact us and join us immediately. Let's get started and get these founding members. If you're at a university, and I'm particularly thinking of the kind of university where I worked, where we really struggled with enrollment, and every year seemed like we were retelling our story from the beginning over and over and over. We had always had to retell it. Staff changes, changes, and if we were wanting to grow and include a global component, it was extremely cost prohibitive. We couldn't send. We were small, mid-sized liberal arts schools, can't afford to send staff people around the world to recruit the students that would have benefited us and did benefit us. In my experience, I had a unique set of connections that allowed me to tap into some things and to respond to students in ways that we could actually grow our program. And so we did. At my university, we grew from 10 to 12 students in the program to over 100. And the way we did that was the way we responded. So we're offering that now as part of our consulting services to universities. But today we're talking about this Global Student Network. By simply joining the network and being a part of it and getting your rating from the network, and so you get a number of globes, the school rating, you're basically advertising yourself constantly, daily, to schools and families that, hey, we're a part of the Global Education Network, value your students. We value you if you're a global student. And that's the story you want to tell, right? That's something that you can say to every applicant that applies to you that comes in blind off the internet. And you can say, hey, we're part of the Global Education Network. And that means we value you. And we will help you study by joining the network. We're going to help you tell your story. And to varying degree, schools will join at varying levels as far as how much input you want from us. But simply saying to the world, we value global students is a no-brainer, right? It's the easiest thing. And by going through our rating system, allows you to know what it takes to be a premier destination school for a global student. Then you become one. And then growth is in your hands. You decide how many students you want to have coming each year. And global students become that stable factor in your enrollment that boosts your bottom line, fills up those empty dorm rooms with students who will make a transformative impact on your community. Your faculty and staff are going to love having these students in class because they bring a breadth of perspective and breadth of conversation that you can't otherwise get in the discussion in the classroom. And you get to control that growth. Students get it makes it much easier and cheaper for you to recruit students and create competition and get the word out about you because you're going to be communicating within that network and telling that story. So we're inviting you as schools. We're going to control the number of colleges and universities that enter and try to match that with the opportunities with international schools so we don't oversaturate the market and have way too many high schools, not nearly enough universities, and vice versa. We're going to try to help regulate that. So be the first to contact us and get involved and get a membership in the Global Education Network. Now, there's some other people that have the opportunity to join. So if you're an individual family in school and your school hasn't joined the network yet, A, talk to them, get them to join. B, join yourself. Join us. If you're an individual family or student and your school's not involved, join us. You get access to the same services you would if your school had joined. You just pay for it yourself. It gets your student into that portal where those schools then can recruit them. We can get them, you can get access to all those webinars, workshops, all of our curriculum, resources, coaching, all of those things. You can get access to that even if your school has not joined. And that extra supplemental diploma is also going to be available to you. So this is the time. We've got the package now. If you're an individual family or student, join the Global Education Network and start getting access to those resources right away. The final group I want to invite is the supporters. We need resources and support from individuals to launch us forward. At the moment, we need to get the word out about this, to share this story. You're hearing it, but that doesn't mean everyone who needs to hear it is hearing it today. And so if you're hearing it and you think there are people who should hear it, like it, share it, comment on it, and support us. We have a GoFundMe campaign right now called the Founders Club. Allow you to join in and say, hey, I'm a part of this. Go back to your coffee group and say, hey, I've decided to join the Global Education Network and help build a bridge between global students and colleges and universities. I can make a difference in education. I can help support private, quality, not-for-profit education networks, and I can do so in a very genuine way that grows organically from the students that are really wanting opportunities and the schools who really want them. They just haven't been able to connect with each other. And you can help make that connection. Every dollar you contribute to what we do at GSS, it will be linking students to universities. You will be supporting higher education and supporting global students at the same time. So your dollars are double duty and we will put them to good work. We are, as an organization, we are very, very low overhead. We have no buildings. Everyone that's participating is doing so on their own volition. We only get paid when people pay for our services. And so we don't pay just to have people sitting around waiting. And so your money pays to do something. So it pays for marketing services, or it pays somebody to launch initiatives, to have meetings, to work with people. And so every dollar that comes in allows us to do more, and it's a direct impact dollar. So those are the things that I look for when I'm contributing to organizations. And so I think that's something that you probably are interested in as well. And so thank you. If you're watching this because you have donated to GSS during the holiday season and now getting our podcast directly to you, network. We're going to need alumni, we're going to need advisors, we're going to need employers. As we grow this education network, we're going to have college graduates that are going to be going out into the world, and they're going to be spectacular. And you're going to want to hire them. If you are no longer in business and just a supportive, you will want to hear these stories. You will be so excited, as I am. Literally every week, I get to talk to somebody that's doing something amazing and is so positive. And you'll get to hear those stories delivered directly to you because you're part of the network and you're getting our updates, and you're following us on social media, and you're following us in the Global Student Voices, and you're getting these stories. So be a part of these really positive changes in a time in the world when not everything is positive. There's lots of sad stories, and you should absolutely be contributing to relief efforts with the fire disasters in the Western United States as those happen, with war efforts and with responding to refugees and dealing with the most vulnerable. Absolutely, those should be part of your immediate action points. And invest in some positive change. Invest in those people who will be the decision makers of the future. Invest in your kids and grandkids through this program that will make the world more connected, more interdependent, and more positive, because these global students do those things. And when they grow up, they win Nobel Prizes for peace, and they build positive change in countries and around the world. And so be a part of those stories and help us share those stories by contributing to us today. So there's a place for everyone in the Global Student Network, and we invite you to be a part of that. Visit our website, theglobalstudentsolutions.com, and there's places there to initiate the conversation. That's how you join us, is you initiate a conversation and we get started. So if you're a contractor, a service provider, an international school, a university, student, a family, alumni, a supporter in any other way, join us as we come together to create a network that changes lives and breaks down barriers for global students. Visit the website, send us an email, follow us on social media, Global Student Solutions, My College Coach. Do it right now, today. Be a part of this education revolution. The stuff that's coming is so exciting. I can't wait to share it with you. Look forward to doing that right here on Global Student Voices. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning into Global Student Voices. We're committed to bringing you the best advice and to share stories from global students and educators. We need your help. Make sure you subscribe, share, rate, and review our podcast. Follow us on social media for more updates, and we'll see you next time. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.